But let's talk a little bit more about where we're going now. I mean, now that we see this integration, what do we hope to accomplish? I mean, we're as you've reminded me, we're in our eighth decade, and we're we're not building up huge consulting firms, neither one of us. But share with us what put our audience on in that
Sure.
conversation we had.
So, just as a quick backdrop, in 2004, I published a book called On Value and Values, the subtitle Thinking Differently About We in an Age of Me.
Mhm.
That's a book of moral philosophy about the 21st century, and it is grounded in a proposition that human beings have struggled forever to integrate their concern for material well-being with other values of spirituality, art, environment, politics, whatever. It's not new, but what's new is that everybody on this Zoom, go out on a limb, everybody on this Zoom lives in a world of markets, networks, organizations, friends, and family, not a world of place, friends, and family. And so the age-old challenge of humanity has to be resolved in these very different contexts. That's a quick backdrop to Ed's question, because from Ed's and my perspective, you can think of the world at three different levels. There's the intimate level of individuals, friends, family. There's the enormity level of markets and connected networks and societies. But in between are organizations and purpose networks.
Mhm.
Purpose networks like the American Red Cross or the United Way or things like that. The kinds of purpose networks that Ed and colleagues who, on the Zoom have done a brilliant job of constructing to solve particular challenges. The action is in the middle. It's in organizations and purpose networks. Strategic doing is as powerful a methodology as I've ever come across for creating what I call incipient purpose networks out of nothing. Meanwhile, performance-driven change, which is the body of work I've been working on with others, is pretty effective, I would have to say, at helping existing organizations and existing purpose networks like American Red Cross deal with change as the only constant, deal with the realities that they confront that can only be addressed through some blend of doing things differently. So what Ed and I saw when we reconnected, and very much in the context of Connex itself and the kinds of communities that Connex makes happen, is the opportunity to do the following with people like you. Our dreams are entirely dependent on you. And our dreams are, first and foremost, to have strategic doing, performance-driven change, and a particular architecture I call the cohort architecture for scaling change, which is something I haven't talked about, but I've been involved with for more than 20 years. Using those three things together to have people like you incorporate them in your practices in how you interact with organizations and purpose networks to change the world. That's number one. We call those, our language, doesn't have to be your language, design, do hubs, where through designing and doing, constantly iterating, using these methodologies we're talking about, real change that benefits more, not fewer, happens. That's our primary objective. Our second objective is to help practitioners such as yourselves become ever more adept at both using and contributing to and making better the methodologies that we're talking about. So one is kind of an entity thing, a design do hub, but again, you might call it I'm looking at Danny here, the Danny firm. We don't care what you call it, but the idea is that they're firms, they're entities that are doing this sort of work, and then practitioners who get very good at doing and contributing to the growth of the work. Those are I would say, the two primary ones. Along with that, though, why not? We're all, Ed and I are looking at the grave, so why not? We have an unreasonable aspiration that maybe professional schools and even high schools and colleges start to teach a different way of thinking and doing in the world that will be more beneficial to our kids and grandkids as they grow up. So it's about maybe changing what's taught, changing what's researched, but then most importantly, with regard to the design do hubs and the practitioners, what's used and toward what purposes.